Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Room for Everybody. I'm really excited about the conversation that we have today. So I'll let our guest introduce herself and tell us a little bit about the identities that you hold.
Yeah, hello there. My name is Christiane Schröter, and I live in California. I'm super thrilled to be here today. I identify myself with she, her, hers, and those are the identities. The identities that I'm holding in the space I'm actually going to talk about is I work in an academic setting, which is actually a very male-dominated environment.
Mhm.
And the space that I'm going to talk a lot about today is actually my home office, which I totally made more of a female flowing work environment, kind of offsetting this male-driven environment that I work with at the academic setting. So I'm excited to share.
Yeah, that's wonderful. And I know this is very relevant to a lot of people that have shifted from going into an office space to how do we design our home offices to better flow for us. So that's wonderful. Yeah, I'm excited to hear. Could you describe us a little bit what your past home office looked like?
Good. So the home office that I used to have was actually a guest bedroom. And then I realized that to really justify, because I live in California,
Mhm.
the cost of an additional guest bedroom where we don't even have guests on a monthly basis and just have that room sit there with a bed and a night chest, etc., and it's mostly empty, it really didn't make any sense. So
Mhm.
my original office, speaking about identities, was in another side of the house, and it was a side that was always, the walls were kind of making this room a little bit chillier and cold. And I just felt that when I worked in there, it wasn't exactly the vibe I was going for. I didn't feel like it was in a cocoon of creativity. I
Mhm.
felt the room was cold, and I actually struggled a lot with in just getting my mind flowing and my work going. Then I shifted this home office into the guest bedroom. We got rid of the mattress, we donated it to somebody, we completely remodeled the room. You can kind
Mhm.
of like see that my background right now. We put up books. It was always my dream that I live in a home which has a home library. So that
Mhm.
was step one. I'm like surrounded by knowledge, and I love that. It's kind of like the emission of knowledge is coming from the books and going to my brain. I love that.
Mhm.
And secondly, I got a stand-up desk as well as a really fantastic chair. And I'm going to share with you one of my little tricks in a little while as well, and how I sit and how I work. And it just became this beautiful space of, now it's warm in here, there's light coming in, we changed the lighting in the room, there's these beautiful ceiling lights. Let me actually tip this up a little bit so you can see them. So let me change this right here. So they're basically these recessed lighting, and
Mhm.
it's just gorgeous. It's full of light, full of vibrancy. It's very calm, and it's something where you go in and you immediately feel it's an embracing space. I also have some succulents hanging here on the wall and some pictures of my children when I
Mhm.
look up. So there's just a lot of elements there that make this space full of pieces that I personally associate with and that make it very special.
Yeah, that's wonderful. I think you've definitely touched on a lot of key points. Firstly, just the impact of the space, like your old space, how that was just not working for you. And I think it's wonderful that you evaluated, like, do I really need this guest room, or can that space be something different that works better for your needs? I love the bookshelf wall. Like, that's always a highlight of spaces when you see someone with all the books behind them. Like, it could be a conversation piece, like maybe someone recognizes the book that's back there, but also just that feeling of being surrounded by the books and the knowledge. I think that's really great.
And
I'm
I want to add to the bookshelf too. That
Mhm.
was always one of my dreams too. So speaking about different identities. So I'm born in Germany, and I basically left my life in Germany to come to United States. So I completely still have that in me. Of course, you can hear it in my accent that I associate very much still with the German culture because that's where I'm born, but I chose not to live there.
Mhm.
What I chose though is that a lot of books in German actually displayed behind me.
Oh,
So I still
wonderful.
have my childhood or my culture represented behind me because my
Mhm,
children grew up bilingual with the German language being part of what they read.
mhm.
And it's something that is very special to me. And some of the items on the shelves you can see too, actually have some pictures from my brother down there, are actually German unique souvenirs that mean a lot to me and that
Mm,
make the space a little bit more about who I really am, because I am this person that, yes, I am a first generation immigrant. I came here to the United States by myself, but I'm
mhm,
bringing some of these elements here and I'm showcasing that this is very much a part of my identity, who I am today. I'm not just, focusing on shedding everything that I did before, but I'm still keeping it with me.
mhm. Yes, absolutely. I think that's wonderful. I love when people's space says something about them. I think often in looking at interior design trends, it can feel depersonalized, something that could just be anybody's home. But when you have those little touches that really showcase who you are, I think that's really special.
Thank you. Yeah.
You also mentioned kind of bringing the femininity into your space and the flow. Could you explain that a little bit more?
Sure. So there are a few things that I really enjoy. For instance, as a teenager, getting into a young adult, I always used to go and visit a friend in Paris. So French is a language that I learned with that family right there. Spend always spring break there, sometimes even the summers. So I never really wanted to let go of this piece of French language being in Paris, etc. And
Mhm,
that's to me something that just seeing like the Eiffel Tower makes me very happy. So I have some elements behind me that I actually from Paris. And now I'm kind of like looking. So there's some little elements on the shelves right there. And to me, what it means is I look at the elements and it reminds me of a good time I spent with my
mhm,
friends right there. But I
mhm,
also noticed that a lot of my female friends are very much drawn to Paris, and they like, what the city represents, this city of love, or, the sparkles when the Eiffel Tower is lit up at night. So that's something that I have very much going on there too. And at the same time, let me actually turn the camera so you can kind of like see this little element like right there. Whoop, do you see it? So right there is the succulent that
yeah,
I
that's
talked
beautiful.
which is really pretty. It's basically a frame, and there are succulents in it. They're not live, but they are meaning a lot to me because it's a very soothing and calming energy. So it's
Mhm,
this flow softness to it. And that's what I feel I really need in my life to get work done, that I don't feel like I'm in harsh neon lighting, but rather I'm in a very embracing environment. And
mhm,
it's that cocoon that I talked about earlier that I was really looking for. And I mentioned earlier my little trick. So I'm moving
mhm,
it aside. So I struggled with back pain for a long time. And I realized it's because I'm getting tense when I'm stressed out and I'm lifting my shoulders and I'm slouching,
mhm,
that I need to play a little trick on my mind. What can I do not to slouch? So I got this heating pad, and it's not expensive, but I'm just wrapping it over my office chair, and
mhm,
because it's nice and warm, I'm pushing my shoulders back. And
mhm,
that really helps me in getting my position aligned. In my back pain, well, first of all, it's nice because it's warm, but secondly, it helps me remind my position, oh, push your shoulders back. So I switch it on and off during the day and how I feel, but that's another kind of like, speaking about this female energy, this warm, soft, back hugging piece, which feels
mhm.
like somebody's just holding you and making it comfortable for you.
Yes, definitely. I think that's a wonderful trick that you've implemented in your space and like really smart. I've never thought about doing something like that. But yeah, I'm glad that's really helping you. Have you worked in kind of a corporate office building before previously?
Well, I still have my office on campus.
Okay.
And I recently actually redecorated it, which is why I so love when you reached out and I said, I want to share about this. I redecorated my office at work. It's a beautiful large room, and I put some things from Paris in there. I bought some succulents as well, those, I don't want to say fake flowers, but they are succulents. And it looks gorgeous. It has a nice wall of windows, etc. The main problem why I don't work there as much is because, first of all, the lighting is that neo lighting I talked about. And I can't change that because it's not my building. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So I bought some additional lighting and I was trying to play around with it. But the second element is there was a construction right next to my office for a long time. And I really don't enjoy the construction noise. It really did not align with my workflow. It made me very antsy. And I felt that I really need this calmness that lets me decompress, and to get work done, I really need silence. So I started working more from home, and my office looks gorgeous, and it's probably an amazing space, and the construction is gone now. It's still something I don't use as much because I never really associate my productivity now with that space.
Right. That's really interesting. Yeah, kind of the psychology of the spaces that you're in and how that impacts your flow. It sounds like you've done a lot of work to really know how you work best and cultivate a space that works for you. And that's amazing. It's really cool.
It's kind of like a work in progress, of course, always, right? But it has a lot to do with how you feel in your body too, that you understand who you are and that you feel like you're finding your self-worth and your identity when you go to that place. So it's kind of like putting on a comfortable pairs of jogging pants, right? It just feels right.
Yes, absolutely. With the fluorescent lights that are at your other office, is that like a big panel or what do those look like?
Yeah, they are just in the middle of the room. Yeah, big long pink panels, probably 4 big panels. They actually, and this, you're going to love this. They are on a motion sensor. So if I don't
Okay.
move a lot, they get off, and that drives me crazy too.
So
Because
you
I'm
have
in
to
the
just
middle of,
wave your hand.
yeah, I'm like in the middle of working, and I was like, light this off again. I don't like this. And then I don't even know like where the motion sensor is. So I have to do like these random movements to get it back on. And it makes this loud noise when it goes off. In addition to that, because the construction site was right next to my office, my windows are now so dirty on the outside, and I'm in the 3rd floor. I have no idea how to clean them, nor will probably anybody ever clean them. So they're just filthy, dusty, and dingy, and it doesn't really make them even so amazing that you want to open your blinds and look out because they're just looking so nasty.
Right.
That doesn't help.
It doesn't. That is really unfortunate because it could be such a better space if they would give you the permission to do some things or offer their resources.
Totally.
I had worked in an office space that also had those big fluorescent lights and found these panels that you can put in that have different designs on them. They can be like skies, or I know one was kind of like a stained glass look
I love
that
that.
helped
Brilliant.
it not feel quite as harsh without having to do any electrical or yeah.
Brilliant. I really like that. And of course, I have all my diplomas at the wall because I had them in a closet at home. And I thought, do I really want to hang them up in my own house? So I put them in the office space on campus, and they are there. And I think that's a good spot for them because people come in and they meet with me, and then they see my authority by these pictures. But at the same time, it doesn't even mean that much to me to have them at a space where I always look at it, because I rather want to look at things like pictures of my children or my books, right? So if that makes sense to me, they are important, those degrees, etc., and I have them right there. But it goes more with what I said. It's that more male dominated, authority driven environment, that space, versus at home where I'm more a mom and a wife and also a small business owner, right? I have my own wellness coaching business. So I feel like I have these 2 separate lives where I'm female in a male dominated academic setting versus at home where I'm more like this softer female coach that's helping others reach their wellness goals. And that's really the decoration that I have and the way that I set things up. It's very evident because the office on campus has all this dark furniture I would have never chosen for myself, but again, somebody bought. And at home, you can see it in the background. It's all white, it's soft, and it's also something to where I'm feeling that's more aligns with who I am.
Yes, definitely. I can see that. I also like the plants that you were talking about and how that just brings in a sense of life into your space. Even if they aren't real plants that you have to take care of, I think that's really important to have that greenery and connection with nature in your space.
It's so true. Yeah.
Great. This has been really interesting. Thank you so much for sharing about your different office spaces and how you designed them. I think you did an incredible job. Maybe you could also have interior design on the side if you wanted a third job. Is there anything else you'd like to share with the audience, either about your space or maybe more about the coaching that you do?
Yeah, I would love to connect with anybody that's listening on Instagram. And I'm actually doing a 5-day challenge now, which even when you listen to this, you can still go back. It's posted on Instagram and you can retroactively find that content right there, to where I go through what's called the 5 pillars of health. And it's so important that we make time for ourselves, but we frequently just think, oh, it's exercise, it's nutrition. But there's actually more than that. There's also sleep, there's the social health, and there's the mental health. And I have a podcast recording, a blog post, and now this 5-day challenge, which will all help you align those 5 pillars of health. So you can get a free template for the 5 pillars of health on my blog post, and we can maybe post that link right there. My website is called hello.happy.nest, all in one word. And the blog has that downloadable template, which you can then get. But I also have a podcast recording on my podcast, which is called Happy Healthy Hustle, because I am still a hustler at the end of the day, but I'm trying to be happy and healthy, where I'm explaining exactly some tips and tricks that align your personal self with those 5 pillars of health. And I would love for you to tune in and reach out and see how that worked for you. And I would spark my joy if I would help you a little bit more in reaching your personal best self.
Yeah, that sounds wonderful. I like that holistic approach to everything and definitely will be including those links in the show notes and hope people reach out and take advantage of that. That sounds really wonderful. Thank you so much. Dear listener, thank you for joining me on today's episode. This podcast is produced by Eden Environments, an inclusive and sustainable interior design firm. Our human-centric design strategy creates spaces that are fat and neurodivergent friendly, trauma-informed, and sustainable. If that sounds like what you need, contact me through Eden's website to get started. For the latest updates, sign up for emails and follow along on your favorite social media platform. And until we meet again, I wish you gentle days.